No prisoner ever tried to get free of its tyrannical grip, but there was one inmate who was willing to try, Redoine Faïd. The French people honestly thought Reau Prison was inescapable, but Faïd refused to accept the notion outright. The notorious penitentiary had always welcomed the prisoners with one-way ticket until it had the star guest in its boundaries. But how could he break a prison with steel, like walls densely populated with watchtowers that had sharpshooters who stayed ever alert 24/7 and did not know no mercy? Faïd could, because his approach was not conventional. No digging of holes, no unscrewing of skylights or windows, no bribing of jail officials. Then what was his escape doctrine? Well, he went for something brazen and bold, and it was force against force, a commando action with a shock troop. But has it ever been possible for an individual to humiliate a state-backed trained force to such an extreme degree? Faïd actually did it and set a landmark in the annals of prison escapes. Who is this man? Why was he in prison? And how did he practically pull off the escape? Let us delve deep in the history of Faïd and find out the circumstances that shaped this marvel of crimes. Unlike most criminals, Faïd did not specialize in a single crime. Instead, he had done them all: extortions, armed robberies, prison breaks, jewel thefts, bank heists, kidnaps, and even a murder. He was a figure of great banditry and multiple repeat offenders. But there is always a turning point where a man departs from a regular life to become a criminal and embarks upon a route that is short but wild. And every criminal has his own story. Most of them go blind because some sort of injustice had been done to them, and after that, they take the law and break the law. Faïd too had a stimulus that instigated his becoming an outlaw, but his was a different story. He set apart from his professional colleagues in every aspect, and his coming to the criminal world was also unique. It was his own choice, and not an external compulsion. Indeed, he was inspired by action movies filming gangsters engaged in armed robberies and shootouts. Strange, isn't it? He was determined to live the life of a gangster and not just sit and contemplate it, so he ventured upon stealing and robbing. But what he started as a craze became his destiny. He could not cut loose of his criminal self till the end. He has many distinctions, but one stands out, a feat other criminals would never dare attempt, and that was his escape from Reau Prison, a supermax prison designed to stifle any escape attempt and grind it to dust. But Faïd surprised the jail authorities by a daring act that they could not predict, and therefore they were never ready to respond preemptively. He struck them, and he struck them really hard, and before they could size up the situation, Faïd was at large on his way to spread more terror and violence in the streets. There are people in this world who hate to live peacefully, and Faïd, he was at the top of this creed. So what really happened on that day? What was so unique about his escape that stunned the world and held the media spotlight for a long time? Let us unfold the history. It is the year 2010. Faïd has recently been released from a prison. Faïd does not want to spend a single day of his life without action, and therefore, without wasting time, he plans another armed robbery yet again, and he immediately executes it with great precision and great zeal. But something goes wrong somewhere. As a result, the police get the information, and they storm the site. Faïd and his team are caught by surprise, but no worries, for Faïd, action is the real juice. A high-speed chase and intense crossfire ensues, and that is an exact situation that Faïd has ever lived for. What then? A fierce retaliation comes from the gangsters. Their guns are spewing out fire in every direction, and that ends with the death of a young woman police officer, Orly Fouquet. Faïd escapes, but this time, he has taken the life of one of their colleagues, and therefore, the police are enraged, and they swear to inflict a befitting punishment on him and make him a lesson for the rest of the criminals. As a result, a search operation starts with unmatched alacrity. They close in on him from every angle and capture him in a short period of time. And soon after his capture, he is put in the most secure and cruel jail of the country called Reau Prison. The police think the hide and seek is over, but no, it is not. And they soon realize that the prison happens to be too small a place to hold Faïd that is too big a character. Faïd strikes back in the same year in which he is put in prison, but how? Outside the prison, he has a whole ring of criminals that he has trained and led for so many years. He sends a secret message to his comrades through one of the visitors that he sees in the prison. His team has learnt the same bad habits from their master, and a whole plan for his escape is hatched. And what they plan has never been tried before and has never been tried afterward either. What are they going to do? Their plan unfolds on July 1st, 2010. A small group of tough men hijacks an Alouette 2 helicopter from Lognias Aerodrome They also carry off a pilot with them whose name is Stefan Bills, and he is particularly selected for the task because he is skilled in his profession. BLA tries to show some resistance in the start, but seeing their guns and gravity, he is left with no choice but to yield to their demands. After a little flight, they force the pilot to land the chopper. The gangsters load some very sophisticated weapons from a car into the chopper, and they also refill the fuel tank to full capacity. They take off once again and head towards the Reau Prison. Billy's, now a captive, is part of a commando action that is about to unfold. His only chance of survival is in following the orders. The outlaws have planned everything with military precision. They can only land in the courtyard while avoiding hitting nets and wires. It is the job of a skilled pilot, and that is why Billy's is there. The sharpshooters on watchtowers quickly direct their machine guns at the intruders. They are alert and ready to shoot, but they receive orders to hold their fire, and it is for the fear that the chopper might explode and cause irreparable damage. And they also doubt that the pilot might have been a hostage, and saving an innocent life is their first priority. No sooner than they land, the shock troop storms out of the chopper. They blind the surveillance cameras through smoke grenades and use their machine pistols to force the guards take a shelter. There is firing in every direction. Some of the shock troopers break the entrance door through explosives, while the others give them cover through ceaseless firing. There is chaos in every corner of the prison. The assault was so sudden that the guards were incapable of reacting with confidence. They are puzzled, but the invaders are fully prepared and know exactly what to do and when to do. They break through the visitors' lounge where Faïd is supposed to meet his brother. The assailants know about the visit, and that is why they go straight to the spot and pick Faïd from there. All of them board the chopper and escape. The key element in the escape operation is their amazing alacrity. They come like a storm, do a pinpoint operation, and leave with the same speed. The whole operation takes less than 10 minutes. Now, to the state, Faïd's manner of escape was a greater blow than the escape itself. So how did the state react, and what happened to Faïd after that? Before we find the end, let us know the start of this crime master. He was born in 1972 in Creil, a prosperous industrial area in the north of Paris. His parents belonged to the working class. His mother was a housewife, while his father worked in a certain factory with an income that was enough to reasonably meet the needs of his family. Faïd was the second youngest of his 11 siblings. He grew up in a peaceful neighborhood. He hung out with his brothers in the neighborhood, and with days passed by, he became friends with a bad company. He was only 7 when he stole some chocolates from a grocery store, and this incident sparked his lifelong involvement in crime. His mother died when he was only 10 years old, and after that he cut loose of any emotional influence that could reform him. His next major advance in the early age of his criminal career was to burglarize a room in his school to steal some small cars and marbles. He had the natural instincts of a criminal. At a very young age, he thought like an expert outlaw and used to notice every available exit before he committed a crime. He planned the thefts meticulously. His attention to details impressed his peers, and with the passage of time, his opinion in crimes became an authority for his comrades. A greater part of his inspiration came from crime movies. For his friends, he would replicate scenes from movies during actual crimes and deliver dialogues from films like Fear Over the City. It is the year 1990, and Faïd is only 18 years old, but even at this young age, he is already skilled in the art of robbery because he has a natural flair for his work. In the same year, Faïd plans to rob a bank. His plans are detailed enough to cover every angle and ensure success. For this particular heist, he is inspired by the famous movie Mesrine, and he has followed lines of the movie but with a great conviction and discipline. He pulls it off successfully and then joins the class in his school to get a perfect alibi. And since robbing a bank is not a joke, it is a substantial advance in the crime world at such a young age. Faïd has gained tremendous confidence from that bank heist, and after that he is incapable of continuing his education, so he drops out of school to add to his criminal records with greater focus. What follows next is an array of burglaries and robberies that enriches him financially beyond his expectations. He stuffs his life with luxury and leisure. He spends lavishly and does not spare any tourist destination that is famous for glamour and exoticism, but no pleasure can give him the satisfaction that he gets from the thrill of action and the adrenaline rush from his heists. He only feels he is in control of everything when he is engaged in a dangerous crime. But a normal heist does not offer him thrill anymore. Now he is looking for something more exciting, more risky, so he elevates to the level of armored truck robberies. This time he gets his inspiration from the great action movie Heat, which opens with a scene of robbing an armored cash van. It is the year 1996 and Faïd is 25 years old now. He plans to rob an armored truck supplying cash to banks. He collects a team and spends months in preparation. He closely observes the different destinations of these trucks and the pattern of alternating their routes. He watches the movie Heat a number of times to get maximum wisdom from the actions displayed in the film. He keeps perfecting his plan. The day of heist finally arrives. It is July 3rd, 1997. Faïd has gone all out to rob the cash van, and since he is fascinated with the movie Heat, he has tried to replicate the first scene of the movie. Faïd selects a perfect spot for the action, and it is the industrial area of Villepinte. The spot he has picked is free of surveillance and heavy traffic. Besides, there are plenty of escape routes. He brings the target van to a halt by shooting at its wheels. Once the van is stationary, Faïd's team pounces at it. They do not give the guards the least time to react and get them pinned down very swiftly. In the next moment, they start shifting cash to their own van, but luck had already fixed a twist in the play. The police somehow get there sooner than they expected, but never mind, because for Faïd, it has only added a spice to his little expedition. He loves action because he is a gangster by choice, and he wants to leave indelible prints in crime history. A fierce shootout starts and escalates in minutes. Faïd has brought enough firepower, and he gets the police on back foot. The police call for backup, but Faïd knows it is time to flee the spot with his team. During their retreat, Faïd gets a shot, but he is only injured and still manages to escape with nearly €500,000. His bold armed robbery and fearless fire retaliation has alarmed the police to the ultimate level, and that mechanically ignites a massive manhunt. Even after an aggressive investigation, the police have nothing in possession that can lead them to Faïd. Eventually, an informant tips off the police, leading to Faïd's detention. He is first arrested on December 28, 1998, while he was trying to fly out of the country. He is put to trial, and the court finds him guilty, and therefore he is sentenced to 19-year prison. Redoine Faïd serves 10 years of his term, and after that he is released because of his good conduct. Soon after he regains his freedom, he gets married and starts a normal life. One of these days, a crime journalist meets Faïd, and together they write a book about Faïd's criminal life. The book was released in early 2010 and attained a sensational popularity. Faïd creates an aura of a charismatic person and creates an impression that he is totally rehabilitated, but he knows he belongs to a different world. He is born to be an outlaw, and therefore he cannot resist the thrill of audacious action and breaking laws. And that is when he plans the armed robbery of 2010 that we have mentioned earlier, the one that ended in the death of a young woman police officer. The shocking incident revealed that Faïd's normal behavior was just an illusion. Back to July 2010, Redoine Faïd has escaped Reau Prison and has once again taken aback the nation, but he has also damaged the prestige of the police department. The escape becomes international news, and Faïd becomes the most wanted man in France. He is declared #1 enemy of the public, and therefore, a force of 3,000 officers is deployed across the country to recapture the ringleader. He must be caught before he leaves the country, in which case his arrest will become nearly impossible. On July 24th, the police spotted a car in Sarcelles with a suspicious man in it. They try to stop the car, but it speeds up and disappears around the corner. The CCTV footage later discloses that it was driven by Faïd. Later, the same car is found parked in a supermarket. On searching the car, the police find explosive material in the car boot. This finding indicates that Faïd is up to another robbery. This discovery prompts the police to further intensify their search. The police close in on Faïd from multiple angles and manage to recapture him after 6 months. And this time, he is sentenced to a 25-year prison. He is put behind the bars once again, but in no way is it possible to imprison his passion. He is the one who wrote his own story, and he is most likely to end the story his way. If you have liked the story, don't forget to subscribe and let us know about your view of Faïd in the comment box.